Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great-Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
An episode of The Great-Gildersleeve starring Harold Peary going back to November 25th, 1945. Thanksgiving time means it's time for the big football game.
The Kraft Foods Company presents The Great-Gildersleeve. It's The Great-Gildersleeve, starring Harold Peary, brought to you by the Kraft Foods Company, makers of Parquet margarine and a complete line of famous quality food products. Thanksgiving weekend. Each year at this season, the good citizens of Summerfield make a pilgrimage of some 30 miles to witness the annual football classic between State University and the Aggies. And in the whole of Summerfield, there is no one more determined to go this year than Gildersleeve's nephew, Leroy. For weeks, he has been hammering away at it.
Hey, Unc, if I do the dishes tonight, can I go home? Can I? How about it? Can I?
No.
No, Marjorie.
Nobody asked you.
Uncle Mort, if he goes to that game, I shall just die.
Oh, why?
Because Marshall's coming home for the weekend, and he's taking me. And all Leroy wants to do is spy on us.
Boy, that's a cheap thrill. You think I'd be looking at you when I can be watching a football game?
Uncle Mort, don't let him go. You can't. You simply can't.
Now, my dear, I think that's for me to decide.
That's telling her.
I don't see why Leroy hasn't just as good a right to go to the game as you.
You hear that?
After all, I think you might consider his side of it, too.
Yeah, how about considering my side of it?
You stay out of this.
But, Uncle Mort, this is my only weekend with Marshall since he went away to school. We want to be alone.
Alone? They go to a football game to be alone.
Now, Leroy.
I suppose you'd like everybody else in the stadium to get up and leave. 20,000 people.
Leroy.
I rest my case.
Well, what about it, Uncle Mort?
I shall think it over.
Oh, say yes, please. I'll pay you if you will. I'll give you all the money I've got in my bank.
I'm not subject to bribery, my boy.
Well, I'll do anything you say. Anything at all. How about it?
I told you I shall think it over.
Well, for cat's sake, how long do you have to think?
There are two sides to this question, my boy, as there are to most questions. Now, from Marjorie's point of view, I can see why she wouldn't want to have you tagging along.
Thank goodness.
From your point of view, Leroy, I can see that this game means a great deal to you.
More than anything in the world, I guess. Except you, Unc.
Yes, yes. Well, the only thing I can see to do about it...
Yeah?
I hate to say this, but the only thing I can see to do about it is to take you myself.
You mean you?
Yes, my boy. Much as I dread it, I'll take you to the football game.
Yay! You hear that, Marge? Hail to the victors valiant, hail to the conquering heroes.
Good evening, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, good evening, Bertie.
Is that you, Unc?
Yes, it's me.
Hey, did you get them? Did you get the football tickets? I was a good boy today, Unc. I cleaned up my whole room, even my closet. Did you get good seats? Where are we sitting? Unc, you didn't forget them.
No, Leroy, I didn't forget them, but I'm afraid I have bad news for you just the same. They're completely sold out.
Oh, that's a big jip.
I know, my boy. I know exactly how you feel, but we have to learn to take these little disappointments and make the best of them, don't we?
Gosh, if you didn't have to think it over so long, if you'd gone and got on the ball.
I did the best I could. After all, I'm just as disappointed as you are. It means that I can't go to the game either.
Ha! You didn't want to go in the first place.
That's not true, Leroy. I wanted to go very much.
Yeah.
But there's no use crying over spilt milk, is there? There'll be other games. Some other time, perhaps, eh? Leroy? I want you to believe that I tried, my boy. Why, I even asked Judge Hooker to use his influence. Not that I'd give 2 cents for all the influence he's got.
I should have known. I'd never get there. This is just a terrible day, that's all. It's been a terrible day right from the start. Friday's always a terrible day.
Leroy, honey, what's the matter?
Nothing.
Oh, now don't do that.
Let's not give up hope, my boy. After all, there's still Judge Hooker.
Yeah.
Well, you're probably right.
Every time you say you'll take me to a football game, this is what happens.
Leroy, this is the first time I've ever offered to take you to a football game.
Well, it happened, didn't it? I should have known.
Now, Leroy, you're just tired. Why don't you go up and get ready for bed and let Bertie bring your supper to you up there?
I don't want any supper.
Well, later maybe you will. You run along and I'll be up. I got turkey croquettes for supper.
With mashed potatoes?
Mashed potatoes and gravy.
Okay.
No, I'll get it, Bertie. Hooker, come in, Judge.
I can't stop, Gildy. I just came by.
Leila, I didn't see you standing back there. Come on in, it's cold.
Well, just a minute.
We're on our way to dinner. I'm taking Leila to a movie afterward.
Oh, so that's why she was busy tonight. You didn't tell me you were going out tonight with the judge, Leila?
I don't tell everything I know.
I sort of cut you out there, didn't I, Gildy?
Old goat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Careful, my dear, careful. Come in.
Hello, Marjorie. Hello, Mrs. Ransom. I hope I didn't hurt you. Oh, good evening, Judge.
Marjorie.
Oh, don't you look pretty? Thank you.
Such pink cheeks.
And natural, too. I'll bet you're excited that Marshal Bullard's home. Oh, he's been home for 2 days. Unky, is it all right if we go skating after supper?
After supper?
It's perfectly safe. There's a big moon out.
I don't know that makes it safe.
Skating in the moonlight. How I'd love to be out there with y'all.
Well, why don't we? We could all make
wait a minute now. Leila and I have a date.
Oh, yes, that. Well, how about tomorrow, then?
But tomorrow's Saturday, Uncle Mort. Marshall and I are going to the game.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell him it's all right about going skating tonight, then.
Well, now, wait a minute. I did... Well, all right.
Thanks, Unky. You're a dear.
Yes, yes.
Oh, to be 16 again instead of pushing 30. Football games, skating in the moonlight. I used to love football games. We used to drive up to Atlanta when Georgia played, Georgia Tech. It was such fun. The girls looked all so pretty and the men were all so handsome.
Yeah.
There'd be parties at all the fraternity houses after the game, and a dance at the big hotel there in the evening, and driving back by moonlight.
Come on, Leila. I think it's time we were getting along.
Oh, yes, I suppose it is.
Oh, that reminds me, Gildy. I almost forgot what I stopped here for. I got you that pair of football tickets you asked for.
You got them?
Just leave it to old Judge Hooker. There they are.
Well, that's fine. Are they any good?
Are they any good? Why, they're right smack on the goal line.
I don't know whether to thank you or not. But thanks anyway.
Oh, Throckmorton, don't tell me you got tickets for tomorrow's game.
Huh?
And never even told me about it. Aren't you wonderful?
I might point out it was I who got the tickets.
Oh, but it's the thought that counts.
Yes, but Leila, you...
Oh, I think surprises are such fun, don't you? Now, here I wasn't looking forward to a thing tomorrow except washing my hair. And now, all of a sudden, everything's wonderful.
But, Leila,
Imagine me carrying on about how I love football games and all the time you knew. Throckmorton, you devil, you.
Leila, you don't understand.
Don't understand what?
Well, I wasn't exactly planning to,
You mean you were planning to take some other girl?
No, of course not. Gosh, I'd rather take you than anybody. I would have asked you too, Leila, only I didn't think of it till yesterday, and I suppose by this time you'd... Well, the last time I saw you, you bawled me out for always inviting you places at the last minute.
Throckmorton, honey, it's time you learn never to pay a single bit of attention to anything I say. Ever.
Leila, I don't like to hurry you, but it's time that we were getting downtown.
Oh, yes, we must be going.
Yeah, but wait.
We've got to be going, Gildy. I have a reservation for dinner.
You don't need a reservation at Joe's place.
We're not going to Joe's place. Come on, Leila. For heaven's sake, let's get started.
But we haven't settled this.
Oh, well, don't worry. I'll call you first thing in the morning about the plans and all. Good night, and I think you're a liar.
What am I going to tell her when she calls?
Morning, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Good morning, Bertie. Leroy?
Hi. I trust you slept well last night.
You can see that I didn't.
You do look a little so-so. Well, you just sit down and I'll bring you a nice...
Phone.
I'll get it.
Where's your sister, Leroy?
She ate her breakfast and scrammed. I'm coming!
You mean they've started for the football game already?
I suppose so. Lucky bums.
Mr. Gildersleeve's residence.
I'm afraid I know what this is.
Oh, yes, Miss Ransom, he is. It's Miss Ransom, Mr. Gildersleeve, about the game.
Huh?
Ask her if she could hold the wire a minute, Bertie.
He said, could you hold the wire a minute, please? He'll be right here.
Leroy, I want to have a talk with you, my boy.
Okay, shoot.
Swallow that toast and listen. My boy, if by any chance I should be able to get tickets for the game today, mind you, I don't say I can, but if by any chance I should,
Yeah?
and if it turned out that it wouldn't be convenient for me to take you...
What? You promised.
I know, and I'd make it up to you, Leroy, some way. I don't like breaking promises, but if you'd let me off just this once, how about it?
I don't know.
Leroy, please, just this once.
I'd have to think it over.
I'll make it up to you, my boy. I'll do anything you say. How about it?
How you been, Miss Ransom? Oh, just fine. You'll be right here. Mr. Gildersleeve, she's waiting.
Leroy, stop eating that toast and answer me. I'm sorry, my boy, but I told you I'll do anything if you let me off.
Ought to be a pretty good game. I'd sure like to see it.
Anything, Leroy. Anything at all.
Anything?
Anything.
Okay.
You'll never regret this, my boy. You'll never regret it. I only hope I won't.
Hello, Piggy. Leroy, the kid himself. Boy, oh boy, Pig, have I got Unc where I want him. What a character. You know what he did? He told me
The Great Gildersleeve will be back in just a moment.
November 12th, 1945, The Great Gildersleeve on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now more of The Great Gildersleeve from November 25th, 1945.
Now let's get back to the Great Gildersleeve. With a blonde on one arm, a buffalo robe over the other, and a brand new bucket hat perched on his head, Gildersleeve looks the complete American college boy, 20 years out of college. We join him now as he and Leila Ransom stroll past the State University campus toward the stadium where the big game is soon to begin.
Aren't we having fun, Throckmorton?
Yeah, you bet.
You know something? Walking around a college town like this makes me feel like I'm 18 again.
Oh, you look 18, Leila. And I'll tell you something else. I don't feel a day over 22. Let's skip, I dare you.
Oh, Throckmorton, with all these boys and girls going by.
What do we care? Come on, let's skip.
It's Marjorie and Marshall Bullitt. Yoo-hoo!
Well.
I saw you up ahead there, Unky. Hello, Mrs. Ransom. You remember Marshall, don't you?
Indeed I do. It's nice you could come home for the holiday, Marshall.
Thanks. How are you, Mrs. Ransom? Mr. Gildersleeve?
Just fine, my boy.
Unky, where did you get that bucket hat?
This hat? Well, I got it at the Summerfield Men's Toggery. What's the matter with it?
Oh, nothing. It just looks kind of collegiate.
That's not what the college men are wearing this year, Mr. Gildersleeve.
That's immaterial to me, son. I needed a hat in case of rain.
Well, I think he looks very cute in it. Although if you pulled it a little farther forward,
Like this?
it was better the other way.
It's nuts.
Marshall, I do believe you've grown just in the few months you've been away.
Put on 15 pounds. Been playing a little football.
Oh, speaking of football, shouldn't we be...
You seem to be in such a hurry, Throckmorton. Why don't we all go somewhere and have a bite to eat first?
Well, Marjorie and I are going over to the Beta Newhouse for lunch. That's my father's fraternity.
Well, you kids go on and have lunch. Maybe we'll see you at the game.
Look for us, Unky. Marshall got seats right on the 50-yard line.
The 50? Well, we're not far from there. See you later.
Bye. I wish we didn't have to sit way down by the goal line, Throckmorton.
Well, I'll see what I can do, but it's pretty late. I wonder how that Bullard kid got seats on the 50.
I suppose he got them through his father.
Yeah, I suppose so. Well, by George, I'll go to the box office and tell them who I am. Don't worry, Leila. We'll wind up with the best seats in the place. Pardon me, madam. I'd like to exchange these seats, please. They're in the section 32. I'd like something on the 50-yard line. Yes, very funny. Perhaps you didn't understand me. I want to exchange these tickets for a pair on the 50-yard line.
Oh, run along, buddy. Nothing doing.
Wait a minute. It just so happens I'm a public official. I'm the water commissioner down in Summerfield.
Water? I hear it's good to wash in.
Don't get smart. Are you going to sell me tickets or not?
Look, we've been sold out since the 10th of September. Now beat it.
Then why are you open?
For next year.
Oh! Wise guy ought to report it. Why don't you look where you're going?
Say, buddy, you really want 2 and a 50 like you said?
I sure do. Have you got 2?
Not so loud.
Oh?
50-yard line, 35th row. And, seeing it's so late, well, I'll let you have them for $20 apiece.
Why, that's robbery.
$20 apiece? Pardon me, mister. I thought you were a big shot.
Oh, I am. Here, give me the tickets. Being a big shot is kind of expensive.
Look, honey, the band down there on the field. They're getting ready to spell out something.
Say, look at those uniforms. Welcome, Aggies. Pretty clever.
Throckmorton, aren't we having fun?
You bet. Why don't the teams quit practicing? They've been practicing all season. Let's start the game.
Oh, let me see the program for a minute, Throckmorton. My, look at this picture of the state captain. Isn't he handsome?
Tom Lingenfeller. Certainly looks dumb.
Oh, but look at those shoulders. My.
Probably wearing shoulder pads. I'll tell you something else. A lot of these football players aren't as strong as they look. The Army had to reject a whole flock of them.
I suppose so. But of course a girl looks at these things a little differently from the Army. There's Marshall.
Marshall where?
Down there, just 2 rows in front of us. Yoo-hoo!
Hi there.
Oh, why, he's got his arm around Marjorie. Hey there, what do you think you're doing?
Throckmorton.
Cut that out, young man. I'm watching you. And don't grin at me like that.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, Throckmorton. What harm is there in the boy putting his arm around in a public place like this?
Don't tell me it feels just the same in public as it does anyplace else.
Does it really?
You know darn well it does.
Mercy, how would I know?
There, how's that? Marjorie, turn around and watch the game. Third down. This time it looks like they're going to try a pass.
How can you tell, Throckmorton?
By the formation. When one fellow stands back like that.
Was that a pass?
No, it was a punt. They should have passed, though. If they keep punting all afternoon, I don't know how they expect to score.
Is it still 0-0?
Certainly. There they go. Oh, an in run. Stopped him dead in his tracks. That fellow couldn't run around a mailbox.
What's that whistle for, Throckmorton?
Just stalling for time. Come on, quit stalling down there and play football.
Throckmorton, people are looking at
Let them look.
They're not stalling, mister. Al Stample broke his leg on that last play.
Oh.
Oh, isn't that awful? Look, they're carrying him off. The poor boy.
Stample must have been in bad condition. I told you these football players weren't so husky. You cold, Leila?
I'm perfectly comfortable, thank you.
That's funny. I'm cold.
Well, to tell you the truth, every time you start to hold my hand, Marshall Bullard turns around and laughs at me.
Oh, he does, eh? That young, smart
Now,
aleck.
Throckmorton, he's just a child. Although I must say he seems much better looking than when he went away. Don't you think he is?
I'm watching the game, Leila. 2nd and 10. Maybe they'll try a pass this time. Through the line.
How can you tell, Throckmorton? I couldn't see a thing on that play.
When everybody falls down, it's a line play. He gained about a foot.
Well, he tried anyhow, and that's what counts.
Never make a touchdown that way, Leila. Now I suppose they'll kick again. There they go. Kick the ball back and forth. After you, my dear Alphonse. After you, my dear Gaston. By George, if we don't get some action pretty soon, Leila, I'll go down and complain at the box office. All afternoon they've been playing, and nobody's even tried.
From Sunday, November 25th, 1945, Harold Peary and the Great Gildersleeve here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll have the bottom of the hour break for your favorite station, an episode of Claudia, and the conclusion of Gildersleeve. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of the Great Gildersleeve and the big football game, November 25th, 1945.
And once again, the ball changed hands in this nip and tuck battle between State University and the Aggies.
Oh, boy.
Believe you me, folks, both these teams are playing heads-up football out here this afternoon.
What a game.
They're lining up again now. State's ball on their own 40-yard line, T-formation.
Come on, State. Let's get a touchdown this time.
The ball is snapped to Captain Tom Lingenfelder. He gets the ball and...
Come on, Lingenfelder.
Lingenfelder fades back, takes a ladder to the left, plunges for the hole between right guard and right tackle. He's through. He's away. No, a beautiful tackle came right through and stopped him cold. I tell you, folks, you've never seen football like we're seeing today at Fireman's Field.
Did you hear that, Bertie? Lingenfelder almost got away, but they stopped him cold.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, you want to listen a while, Bertie?
No, thank you, Leroy. You hear your uncle saying anything?
Not yet.
Now it's 4th and 6 for State. Falling back into punt formation. Crowds in the stands are tense as Tom Lingenfelder opens his hands for the ball. He's got it. He kicks.
Back and forth. Nothing happens.
Well, I think it's very exciting, Throckmorton, for a football game. What do you expect?
A pass once in a while. You gods have only tried about 3 and none completed. Hey, Lingenfelder, why don't you try an aerial attack?
Why don't you drop dead?
Oh. Who said that?
I said it.
Oh, you.
Yes, me. These boys are playing swell football, and they don't need any advice from you.
Just a suggestion. Tourist. I paid for my seat, didn't I? I should think that would entitle me to make... Now what? Nothing. You know, Leila, looks like it might rain.
I don't think so, Throckmorton. How can you think such a thing when we're having so much fun?
I don't really think it'll rain. I don't think anything at all is going to happen here this afternoon.
Oh, Throckmorton, honey, I dropped one of my gloves just now. Do you see it anywhere?
Glove? No. Must be down under the seat.
Would you mind looking down there for it? My hands are cold.
Well, if your hands are cold...
Later, darling. But find the glove now for me like a sweet boy, won't you?
Oh, well... Old peanut shells down here. Chewing gum. See? Leila, what happened?
Come on, Lingenfelder! Come on, Tom! Come on! Oh, the darling!
Oh, you're jumping up and down on my fingers.
Throckmorton, are you still down there?
See? Here's your glove. What was all that racket?
Somebody threw a pass and Lingenfelder caught it and made a touchdown.
A touchdown? Why didn't you tell me?
Well, I was too excited, Throckmorton, and it all happened so quickly.
The only play of the afternoon.
Oh, Unky, wasn't that a beautiful pass?
Oh, yeah, scrumptious.
Throckmorton.
What's the matter?
I felt a drop of rain just then.
Rain, you couldn't have. So did I. It's a cloudburst. What'll we do, Leila?
Maybe it'll stop in a minute. I'll stay if you will, Throckmorton.
Well, I had a slight cold yesterday, and why don't we give up and go home?
I must say, I thought you were more of a sport.
Well, I'm not a sport. Come on, let's get out of here. Pardon me.
What's the matter, mister? No school spirit?
Boo! Oh, boo yourself. Soaking wet. bucket hat. Bucket is right.
Evening, Miss Gildersleeve. Did you have a nice time at the game?
Don't speak of it, Bertie. Don't speak of it.
Well, it's too bad it had to rain. Maybe a little supper will make you feel better.
I don't even feel like eating. I had a couple of sandwiches half an hour ago.
Well, I'll dish it up anyway.
Unc, is that you? What's the game, Super, Unc?
Super? What game are you talking about, young man?
The State Aggies game, the one you saw. I heard it on the radio. It sure was super.
How do they do it?
Say, Unc, I've decided what I want for a reward for missing it.
Oh, all right, my boy. What is it?
Take me to the state game next Saturday.
Oh, Leroy, anything but that. Peavy, are you fond of football?
Football, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Yes. Do you like the game?
Do you mean, do I like to play it?
No. Do you like to watch it? Are you a fan?
Well, Mr. Gildersleeve, I'll tell you how it is about me and football. When I was a young fellow, I lived in Worcester, Massachusetts one year. And that fall, I took it into my head to go to the Harvard Yale game down at Cambridge.
Is all this necessary?
You asked me a question.
I didn't realize you'd have to answer by the way of Worcester, Massachusetts.
Well, if you don't want me to tell you.
No, go ahead, Peavy. You never give a straight answer to a question anyway.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Go ahead.
Well, I've lost the thread now. Why did you want to know if I like football in the first place?
Well, I thought if you did, you might enjoy taking Leroy to the state game next Saturday if I could get the tickets.
Yeah, so that's it. Mr. Gildersleeve, I am fond of football, but I'm not that fond of it.
I might have known you'd be of no use to me. Good night, Peavy. Good night, everybody.
This is John Lang speaking for the Kraft Foods Company and inviting you to listen in again next week for the further adventures of the Great Gildersleeve.
December 25th, 1945, The Great Gildersleeve on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, let's have another episode of Claudia. This episode from November 25th, 1948.
And now, Claudia.
Claudia!
Yes, Roger?
Claudia, my poor ear.
Sorry,
Where
Mama.
is the rock salt?
Mama, where is the rock salt?
How do I know? Where did you put the rock salt?
Let me see. I think the rock salt's in the pantry, Roger.
I'll come and get it. I have the
Right.
ice all broken up and put in the freezer. All I need now is the rock salt and a little elbow grease.
He's sweet, Mom. He's having the best time making the ice cream.
If his work is any indication, we'll all have the best time eating it. Claudia, give me that knife.
Yeah, right away, Mom. I'm curling the radishes and
I
celery.
found the rock salt. How is the turkey coming along, Mrs. Brown?
Coming along beautifully, Mr. Killian.
Good. Am I allowed to look?
You are not.
Oh, the price of being hired help. I'm not even allowed to look for my troubles.
What's a look, Roger, when in a few minutes you can have a taste?
Claudia, that knife, please. You're just waving it around.
Oh, all right, here. By the way, how is the turkey, Mama?
You're not allowed to look either. What
dear.
a household. Have you finished setting the table?
Oh, my gosh, the table. I got sidetracked.
Eating the nuts, I'll wager.
I love nuts in the shell. They're such a challenge. Hey, Mom, aren't you glad we gave Fritz and Bertha the day off?
Delighted. If everybody would kindly get themselves lost. Bring in the large platter when you come back in.
Which large platter?
How many large platters do you have, for heaven's sakes?
Oh, for heaven's sake, only one.
Well. How's the turkey coming, Mother of mine?
You too, David.
I too what?
The latest bulletin. The turkey is coming along fine.
Let's see that he continues so. Where is everybody?
In my hair.
What?
I mean, Roger's on the back porch cranking the ice cream.
Oh?
Claudia's in the dining room pilfering nuts. Julia's upstairs dressing the baby, and thank goodness, for the moment, I am left alone.
Well, anything I can do to help?
Yes, get back into the living room.
These radishes look tasty.
Don't you dare touch. Now, scat, David. Go on out of here. Thanksgiving dinner's woman's work.
Well, remember, call me if you need me.
Here is the platter, Mama.
Just leave it there on the table.
Oh, what a beautiful day for Thanksgiving. I could eat a house.
Save your appetite. He's a very large turkey.
Oh, Mommy, you're such a realist. Now, let's see, what can I do to help?
Go and keep your husband company. But pass me that spoon first.
Yep, here it is. You know, this is quite becoming to you, Mrs. Brown.
What is?
Being cook to a houseful. Yes, it is quite becoming, even to the frilly apron under your chin.
I hate frills.
Remember, if you're ever looking for a job as a chief cook and bottle washer, you can ring my doorbell.
Thank you so much, but after today, I abdicate.
Well, hello. My, such hustle and bustle.
Hello, Julia. Bobby all dressed?
My nephew is all dressed.
Good.
Hartley's bringing him down, and I thought we'd put him in the sunny bay window in the dining room. Now, what can I do to help, Mrs. Brown?
Not a thing, thank you, Mrs. Norton.
Tell me confidentially, how is the turkey coming?
Very nicely, thank you.
Ooh, what a gorgeous smell. Here, give me that butter, Claudia. I'll roll it into little balls.
All right, here you are, Julia.
Where are your butter paddles?
In that drawer, I guess. I'll finish the radishes, too.
Well, how's the turkey coming, ladies?
I wish he could speak for himself. He's coming along fine, Mr. Norton, really fine.
Good.
Baby downhearted.
And sleeping. For that, do I get a look at the festive bird?
You do not.
I can hardly wait till dinner. How much longer?
Well, just
The ice
about.
cream's all done.
Pardon me, but I'd like to get to the scene.
Hello there, Hardley.
Good to see you, Kelly.
Pardon me, but.
You need me to open the olive?
Oh, thank you. On the shelf there, darling.
Excuse me, but
If it's time for dinner, shouldn't we put the rolls in the oven?
Hey, David, I was really stepped on my
Oops,
foot.
sorry, I can't get around the table.
Here are the rolls.
Oh, thank you. I'll take them.
Hartley, listen, if you're not busy, would you take
Sorry
the
if I open the
cranberries
oven,
out of the
darling.
mold? You're near
This
the
thing's
ice
on
box.
too tight.
Excuse me, but I must get into the oven. I must get into the oven.
Mama, you have a wild look in
Is it
your
any
eyes.
wonder? Excuse me, Roger, but
Kitchen's getting a little crowded, isn't it?
No, not at all.
Oh, well, there isn't anybody else expected, is
Give me
there?
something to knock this against.
there's your answer, Mr. Killian.
I live and breathe Mr. Tucker.
Well,
I
Mr.
ain't
Tucker.
late, am I?
No, you're just on time. You know everybody.
I reckon I do. If I don't, I soon will. Greetings, all.
Hello, Mr. Tucker.
Come on in. Make yourself at home, Mr. Tucker.
Why don't you all want to go into the living room? I'll call you.
Oh,
when-
heavens, no. I'd much
Here,
rather
I need
help.
So would I.
The olives.
Oh, I need one for the ice cream.
Anybody seen the bonbon?
well, this would do.
Excuse me, but I'd like to.
Is this all right for the
I
olives?
never seen so many horses in one
Is this
stable.
dish
So
all right
much
for the
Thanksgiving in
olives?
one
Yes,
kitchen.
just put them
I'm going
all
to get
right.
myself
Why'd
down
you
the
say
dining
so?
room and relax my gums for chewing. Come on, all of you, clear out. I ain't wasting no energy on this.
Well, I guess that's everything. Now, let me see. Bread, butter, radishes, potatoes, nuts,
Roger, you
peas.
sit there.
Here comes David with the turkey.
Handsome critter, ain't he?
That's why I married him.
No insults meant, ma'am, but I was talking about the bird.
Oh, I see. The turkey, all stuffed with stuffing.
Won't everybody sit down, please?
Yes, be
You
glad.
especially, Mrs. Brown. You look quite done in.
Mommy, you tired?
Not a bit.
Well, we all helped, so I shouldn't think
Yes,
it'd be
you
too...
all helped. It was a little like cooking in a subway rush, but I liked it, and thanks for the help.
Here we go, Mr. Bird. Here we go.
Oh, my, this is nice. I don't remember anything so nice in a long time.
Neither do I. Even last year was different. It is a lot different this year. I've got so much more.
Yep, that's the way it is, yes, indeedy.
Yep.
Up to a certain point in your life, every year things grow and accumulate.
Is this
You
the
get
man?
more family, you get more friends.
Well, we couldn't have any better friends.
Thanksgiving table gets itself longer and longer. Yep, then comes kind of a turning point, and every year, when you gather yourselves together, the old family's smaller. Got fewer of the old friends left.
That's life, I'm afraid.
Yeah, table gets itself short again. It's the way of life, he says, that's what it is. Growing and falling away and then growing again.
Well, we'll all be here a long time together. There'll be a lot more of us, too. Wait and see.
You're darn tootin', I'll wait as long as I can, but I remember a heap of Thanksgivings, I do.
Well, you remember a heap more, too, I'll bet.
I remember 86 of them.
He always tells it the same way.
Ah, mind your manners, son. Counting all of them when I was sleeping like young Master Norton there, not knowing what all the shooting was about. One year, there was a good bit to be thankful for. Well-stacked smokehouse, healthy season, good crop. Then there was them years where he had to scrape pretty sharp for something to be thankful for, and when the world seemed a pretty niggardly place to wish onto a friend.
Yes, it's a pretty sorry world today.
It's funny, but they're the years I remember best. Well, things even out, and all in all, I'd say it weren't so much for me to complain about. Well, how you carving, son?
He's doing very well.
Well, I'm sitting here chattering like a starved monkey.
I'm doing fine, doing fine. So are you. I'll keep on talking and our carving, and you keep on chattering, Mr. Tucker.
Yes, I'll keep it up. Nothing I enjoy better.
I wish, oh, golly, I wish
What are you wishing now, Mrs. Norton?
Bobby'd wake up. There's so much he's missing sleeping away in the window.
Now, let him sleep, Mrs. Norton. He'll wake up soon enough.
Yep.
Besides, he ain't so different from lots of folks years and years older than him who go through their whole lives with their eyes shut to all the most important things going on. The world's just busting with them kind of folks, yeah.
You know, somehow listening to you talk, Mr. Tucker, I feel as if this were my first Thanksgiving.
In a way, Claudia, maybe it is.
You're right, Roger. Maybe it is.
Maybe the secret is that each Thanksgiving should feel like the first.
It is your first Thanksgiving in New England, ain't it?
Yeah? That shouldn't have anything to do with the feeling, should it, Mr. Tucker?
Well, you're first in the house, you're first in New England. It's your first, all right, Tiz. I don't mean that snooty, but when you're in this part of the country, you're in the hub. Right at the heart of things when it comes to celebrating with a goblin bird.
In a moment, Mr. Tucker's going to tell us that he remembers that first Thanksgiving Day.
And I do at that.
Oh, come now, Mr. Tucker. Thanksgiving is over 200 years old. And you said you were only 86.
That's correct.
Then how can you possibly remember?
Well, some things you remember in your head, Mr. Killian. Others you remember into your bones.
In your bones?
Yep, in your bones. I got a little marrow in my bones. Dates back to them Pilgrim Fathers what celebrated the first Thanksgiving. If you call it celebrated, I just remember just about what was like, I do.
Oh, come on, tell us, Mr. Tucker, while David finishes carving.
Well, as I see it, through my bones, that is, 'twasn't much like this. No dining room table set heavy with victuals, no house all warmed up for comfort, no bangles on ladies' arms or silks for the dresses. Yep, by the time end of November'd come around, them Pilgrim Fathers felt the nipping and the hunger and cold about 'em. But there wasn't but a threadbare few of them left, clustering together for warmth and courage.
They had the courage, all right.
Yep, they had that. They had faith alongside of it. Strong kind it was, too. The faith that things would shape around and that God would see 'em through the snow and the ice and the hunger.
I wish I had that kind of faith.
Well, you might have. When you need it as bad, ma'am.
I wonder.
Mighty little else those folks had but faith, matter of fact. Still, come around the end of November, them pilgrims thought it was about time to thank God for his bounty. They figured they owed him a heap of gratitude for their health, the freedom, and for being allowed to live so long in their bitter wilderness.
If you could call that living.
Well, living it was, for them. Well, they decided if they was to thank God for his generosity, they should celebrate it with feasting. But the cupboard was sparse, smokehouse emptied, the grain in the barn running low, and the winter loomed long. There just wasn't nothing around to celebrate with. But they had the thought, so they'd find the way. Kind of vice-versa with us, ain't it?
It is that. This knife is dull.
So I was saying they set into the woods to kill themselves a meal. Sure, they expected there'd be deer around, or even a wild bear. They'd have real good meat for the feast. But 'twasn't that kind of a year. No, just wasn't that kind of a year that year. The animals had disappeared into the forest or else died of hunger in the thicket.
That's the way, a feast or a famine. That's the way it goes.
And this one there sure did look like a famine. Well, they hunted and finally come toward the middle of the week. One man, he kills himself a beast. Yes, he did kill the beast. No deer, no bear, no meat, but only a wild, feathered bird. Stringy and lean and tough with age, but something to eat. So he weren't much to be proud of. The bird was brought into the village, and pilgrims sprung into action.
We're springing into action today, huh?
Yes, just like here this morning, with all of you pitching in on the dinner. So did them stubborn pilgrims pitch in. The bird was bled and feathered and roasted, along with a few dusty potatoes and beans.
You want some white meat?
One family found some forgotten nuts, another an apple in the barrel bottom. All put together,
There you go.
the pilgrims imagined they had a feast.
I like that part.
Slim pickings, we'd call it, but to their crying stomachs a feast. Then, when the bird was brought in from the fire and set upon the table to eat, the Pilgrim fathers and mothers and children stood up around him and said, God, we thank you. We thank you for our freedom, for our home, for our health, for all the blessings you do bestow upon us. And most especially, dear God, we do thank you for this here turkey. And friends, you can take it from me that this here pilgrim turkey, he wasn't half as juicy and fat and pretty as this here one sitting right here. So serve him up, Mr. Naughton. We'll set our gums to chewing and our hearts to
Here we
saying
go. Who wants
thanks.
a drumstick? Here we go.
Toss me a wing.
Your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola and the cast of Claudia join you in giving thanks for the bounty we enjoy here in America. And they wish you, one and all, a pleasant Thanksgiving Day.
Quite a story old man Tucker told, wasn't it, Mr. King?
Yes, quite a story indeed, Mr. Killian.
And true, as if he'd been there himself. But one thing he said stuck with me more than anything else.
I wonder if it's what I'm thinking.
He said that first the pilgrims had the thought and then the turkey. They wanted to say thanks and then they found the way to say it.
That's exactly what I was thinking. We today are so liable to say thanks, eat our turkey, celebrate Thanksgiving, and then at the very end stop to realize that we have a great deal to say thanks for.
Yes, I'm glad I was there, even if there hadn't been a bone to eat.
But there was a bone to eat.
Oh, don't remind me. I quite lost my head. I took twice of everything, and now I feel very sorry I did.
You don't really feel sorry, though.
Don't I? I shall never eat again. Never.
Sounds familiar. And tomorrow you'll see that you've made that vow in very good company, and that you'll even break it in very good company.
Will I? I'm not convinced. Oh, dear, I'm off to take a nap. Happy Thanksgiving, Mr. King.
Every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again tomorrow at the same time. And now this is Joe King saying au revoir.
From November 25th, 1948, Claudia here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Hope you'll come visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. There you can stream our shows on demand, so if you miss a day, you don't have to miss a show. You can learn more about building a classic radio collection of your own, including through our friend Ted at radiomemories.com. You can also catch up on our social media links. You can also find places where our shows are available via download, and you can also buy me a coffee. The Buy Me a Coffee money does not buy me coffee because I don't drink coffee, but it does help us acquire additional classic radio collections and also helps us ensure that our distribution links stay up. That's at classicradio.stream. As always, thank this station, support their advertisers, tell your friends the great radio shows are right there at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.